Wait, well, how does that go? The coupon thing. He always mentioned it to me, but I don't even know how does this thing work.
It's just their like companies with products and stuff. They want to market their products, so they offer coupons. It's just a way of advertising, getting people to buy it for a cheaper price. People think they get a deal.
Wait, who put them in the audience?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were.
So, what do you think this Orishnik missile is gonna do?
In no way be bridge building. That would be the fucking ultimate troll to do to Isaiah to create a GoFundMe. Like that would be like a total. I mean, I don't want to say it would humiliate him, but man.
I think we should do it.
I have a political question. Is it?
Okay, this is Tanya Shabbat Kabbalah.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help smoke.
Do you own your own home in Illinois but are still paying for electricity? You could be missing out on free government assistance to go solar. Most people don't know this, but in 2005, the federal government passed the Energy Policy Act. This federal law granted everyday homeowners access to thousands of dollars to invest in upgrading their homes with solar panels. This is why you've seen so many of your neighbors going solar over the years. Those who meet the requirements are getting paid to go green. This federal program was granted in the form of a 26% tax credit, but is increased to 30%, meaning that's more money to give to you so you can save even more on your electric bill. But unfortunately, not every home qualifies. If you want to see if you qualify and exactly how much incentives your home qualifies for to go solar, click the little blue button below to take our energy savings quiz. Once you complete the survey, you'll instantly know if you qualify to get paid to go solar. And if that sounds too good to be true, then wait until you hear this. Homeowners who make the switch to solar are saving up to 85% off, and sometimes even more of their electricity bills. These federal and state incentives have created a massive surge of solar installations all across the United States. And this program was recently altered to grant more money to homeowners who want to make the switch to solar. It's so simple to make the switch. Don't miss out on your opportunity to get paid for saving money on your electric bill. All you need to do is click the button below and take our energy savings quiz. Once there, you'll be prompted to enter your zip code and instantly know your chances of qualifying for this limited opportunity. Oh, and before I forget, some studies even show that solar panels add an average of 4.1% more equity into a home's value after installation. So, click the link, take the survey, and see just how much you could get paid for going solar.
The Sefer HaZohar, or the Book of Light, by Nerho de Montcar. Preface. A.S. A preliminary to the translation of the great Kabbalistic work.
If you have a car, the worst thing you could do right now is pay for auto insurance. Let me explain. So,
The idea that we should all be in a frame, sharing consciousness, light for light, light for creator. We shall all understand that in the sharing, we share. That is eternal. When we share, that is eternal.
welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. I would like to start with reminding many of us one of the famous quotes from our teacher Rav Berg. I've many times mentioned it is all about the Zohar. I'd like to read a short section from the book Secrets of the Zohar, that I believe many of you read it, by Michael Berg. And right at the beginning, the introduction, Michael Berg writes, before time, before space, before a single atom came into being, the thought of creation was already in reality in the mind of God. This thought was and is the vision of the perfect world, without pain, without suffering, without death, bringing unlimited abundance and fulfillment to every soul.
Are you a businesswoman who wants to leave their 9-to-5 corporate job behind? If your business is struggling with slow growth or inconsistency, and you're starting to doubt whether this is the path for you, or why no marketing tactic works for you, you need to hear this, because I'm about to show you how to grow your business to the level you dream of and hit the revenue levels you desire, so you can finally leave your corporate life, long work days, and your unfulfilling career behind, so you can become a successful businesswoman, all without changing a single thing in your business or burning yourself to the ground. Please watch this to the very end. My name is Bridget from realitycreator.com. We have over 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we help entrepreneurs like you scale their businesses to 6 figures and beyond by mastering their mind and identity. This is the untold secret behind the most successful entrepreneurs, celebrities, and athletes of all time. Take Beyonce, for example. She's among the most successful celebrities and businesswomen in the world. But before she got there, she struggled with self-confidence and stage fright. This internal struggle led to feeling vulnerable and unsure of herself, keeping her stuck in her career. But all that changed when she shifted her identity to her alter ego, Sasha Fierce. Once she did this, she was able to separate her personal insecurities from her on-stage persona, access a heightened state of confidence and strength, and ultimately become the cultural icon and accomplished entrepreneur we know her to be today. So what if you could tap into this effect to overcome those blocks, keeping you from reaching your revenue goals? Because if you're like most entrepreneurs, then currently every step you take with your business is filled with doubt and resistance. And doing the work is always faced with internal battles, which leads to procrastination and letdown. You've tried every hack and tactic out there, but those only make things worse because they either don't work or only do so for a short period of time, forcing you back to square one, only now with more uncertainty about your business, about your path, and even worse, yourself. But if you were able to tap into the absolute best version of yourself, hitting your goals would become a reality even faster than you can imagine. This is exactly what the mirror principle helps you do. We used it ourselves to go from inconsistently making $5K a month to consistently making over $150K per month without changing a single thing in our business, which allowed me to take full control of my schedule so I could build something I was actually passionate about and spend more time with my family from anywhere in the world. Hundreds of our students have used it to achieve similar results. Louise, a mother of 3 who was let go from her long-time corporate job and was able to scale her business from $5K a month to $30K per month while building something she was passionate about. Tia, who went from $300,000 in debt, working 2 full-time jobs and 80 hours a week when she started working with us, to starting her own business. She grew it to $40K per month. She was working less, and now she gets to spend more time with her family. Or Bastian, who we helped hit his goal of $100K per month by shifting his identity to someone worth having 100K months, and is now doing $400K per month. Now, I could keep going, but I don't have a lot of time left here. So we made a short training where we reveal how the mirror principle works and how you can use it to remove the blocks that keep you stuck in your business, so you can become the person that will get the revenue goals you're after, but haven't been able to reach, all with one permanent solution. So don't wait, hit the link below and take a few minutes to watch this movie. And if you don't have time right now, at least click the link below and bookmark the movie for later when you have a few minutes. Because who knows if you'll ever see this video again. All you have to do is click the button below, or you can spend your time watching mind-numbing videos, go to bed, and wake up tomorrow no better off than you are right now. The choice is yours.
This perfect world is much more than a mere vision. It is a reality. It exists. It is a parallel universe right here, right now, concealed only until we achieve our purpose in this world. Why is it the perfect world concealed? Because nothing can be given to us unearned. We have come into this world in search of the light, but the light is already here. If only we can make ourselves ready to receive it. That is our purpose, to help us achieve it. God has given us the supremely powerful instrument known as the Zohar. One more section before we start the actual reading of the Zohar. The more you study the Zohar, the better you will grasp what this means. But right now, even if you don't completely understand it, I hope you will let yourself experience the connection with the Zohar that already exists within you. Open yourself to this power, and it will be there for you. God's light is like bottomless well, unlimited in the amount of water it can provide. Our consciousness is like a vessel, a receiving entity that is also boundless. The larger this vessel becomes, the more water we can draw from the well. The higher our level of consciousness, the more light we receive. Our task is to open ourselves more and more to the light by expanding the volume of our spiritual vessel. This is the first week of the year after the 22 days of the connections we've made from the time of Rosh Hashanah till the time of Simchat Torah. And I want together with you to plant a very powerful seed for all of us and to use our consciousness, our intention, our heart, and the energy of the Zohar to bring this energy to the entire world. So we're going to dedicate 20 minutes reading from the actual Aramaic. We're not going to read the translation. We want to meditate to awaken this energy that we just spoke about, the energy of the concealed light. Those of you who watched the previous video that I posted with some quotes from the Rav and from Karen Berg, you know what I'm talking about. Want to awaken infinite assistance, abundance, healing, prosperity, protection, all the energy and all the light that each one of us needs and will need for the coming year and for our world.
GoDaddy Arrow can get my business online in minutes with AI. Let's see. Ooh, I like that logo. Let me just change this. Nice. This is fast. Product descriptions, don't mind if I do. Done. Wow. So this is what it feels like to run a business. Okay, GoDaddy Arrow, I see you. Now, let's see what's next.
פתח פיו כשושנה בין החוכים. מן שושנה דת כנסת ישראל בגין דאית שושנה ואית שושנה. מו שושנה דהי בין החוכים, יתפע סומק וחיבר. of כנסת ישראל יתבע דין ורחמי, משהו שנה יתבעת לישר אלין. אוף כנסת ישראל יתבעת לישר מחילין דרחמי, דסחרנין לה מכל ציטרה. אוף אלוקים דאחה משעתה דהתקר אפיק, לישר תיבין לסחרה לכנסת ישראל ולנטרה לה. ולבדר יתקר זמנה אחרה, עמי יתקר זמנה אחרה. בגין להפקה 5 אלין תקיפין דסחרנין לשושנה, והנין 5 יקרון ישועות. והנון 5 תראים, ועל רזה דה כתיב כוס ישועות אסה, דה כוס של ברכה. כוס של ברכה יצטרך למהווה על 5 אצבען ולה יתיר, כגבנה דשושנה דידווה על 5 אלין תקיפין, דוגמה ד5 אצבען. ושושנה דה יהיו כוס של ברכה, מאלוקים תניינה עד אלוקים קליטאה 5 תיבין. מכאן ולהלאה אור דהתברא והתגניז, והתקליל בברית, ההוא דעל בשושנה, והפק בה זרעה, ודה יקרא עץ עושה פרי, אשר זרעו בו, והוא זרע קיימה, ועוד ברית ממש. וכמה דדיוקנה דברית, הסדרה ב40 מוטרן זיווגים בהוא זרע, כד הסדרה שמה גליפה מפרש, ב40 מוטרן אדוון ועובדה דבראשית. בראשית רבי שמעון פתח, הניצנים נראו בארץ, הניצנים דה עובדה דבראשית נראו בארץ, מתי ביום השלישי. נכתיב התוצא הארץ כדן נראו בארץ, עת הזמיר הגיע עד היום רביעי, דאבה ביה זמיר עריצים, מאורות חסר וכל התור דה יום חמישי. דכתיב ישרצו המים וגומר, למעבד תולדות נשמע דה יום שישי, דכתיב נעשה אדם. דאב העתיד למקדם העשייה לשמיעה, נכתיב אחר נעשה אדם, וכתיב אתם נעשה ונשמע. בארצנו דיום שבת, ויהיו דוגמת ארץ החיים. דבר אחר, הניצנים אלן עינון אבהן, דעלו במחשבה, ועלו בעלמא דעתי והתגניזו תמן. ומתמן נפקו בגניזו, והתמירו גונב ואקשות, התשליד יוסף והתמירו בה. על יוסף בהרעה קדישה ונציב לון תמן, וכדי נראו בארץ והתגלו תמן. ומתי יתחזון בשעתה דהתגלה קשת בעלמא, דעה בשעתה בקשת יתחזי, כדי נתגליין עינון. ובהרו שעתה עת הזמיר הגיע, עידן לקצץ חייבים מעלמא. המה ישתזיפו בגין דניצנים נראו בארץ, ואלמלא דנראו לה ישתערון בעלמא, ועלמא לה יתקיים. ומן מקיים עלמא וגרים לאבהן דהתגליין, קל ינוקה דלען באורייתא, ובגין נון רביין דעלמא, עלמא ישתזף לקבלי הון, תורי זהב נעשה לך, אלני נון ינוקה רביין עולמין, הכתיב ועשית 2 קרובים זהב. בראשית רבי אלעזר פתח, שאו מרו מנחם ורומי ברא אלי. שאו מרו מנחם, לאן עתר דכל עינין, תליין לה. ומן יהיו פתח עיניים. ותמן תנעדון, בהי סתים עתיקה דקיימה לשאלה, ברא אלי. ומן יהיו, מי ההוא דיקרא מקצה השמיים לאלה, דכל קיימה ברשותי. ועל דקיימה לשאלה, ויהיו באורח סתים ולה יתגליה, יקרא מי? דה לאלה, לתמן שאלה, והי קצה השמיים יקרא מי. ואית אחרא לתתה ויקרא מה? מה בין היי להי, אלא כדמאה סתימאה דיקרא מי? קיימה לשאלה, וכיוון דשאל ברנש ומפשפש להסתכלה, ולמינדה מדרגה לדרגה עד סוף כל דרגין. כיוון דמתי תמן מה? מה ידעת? מה הסתכלת? מה פשפשת? הכולה סתים כל מקדמיתה. ועל רזה דנה כתיב מה ידך, מה אדמלך. כד התחרב די מקדשה, נפק קלה ואמר מה ידך ומה אדמלך. והוא מה ידך בכל יומה ויומה סידת בך, מיומין קדמאין דכתיב העידותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ. מה אדמלך בהוא גבנה ממש, אתרית לך ביתרין קדישין. עבדית לך שלטנו על עלמא, דכתיב הזאת העיר שיאמרו כלילת יופי וגומר. כהנה לך ירושלים הפנויה כעיר שחוברה לה, מה שווה לך? כגבנה דען ידווה אחרי ההוא, כביכול לאלה, כגבנה דלעלין אשתבח אמה קדישה בסידין קדישין, אחרי הוא מינה לך דלה יעול, ענה לאלה עד יעלון בך, וכלוסך לטאטה. דיו נחמה דילך, הואיל דדרגה דעה שווה לך בכולה. ואשתא דאנט אח הגדול קיים שברך, והיא תימה דלית לך קיימה ועזבתה, מי ירפא לך, ודאי ההוא דרגה סתימאי לעה, בכל הקיימה ביה ירפא לך ויוקים לך. Reading from the introduction of the Zohar, volume number 1, we are now in verse number 10. מקצה השמיים לעילה, מקצה השמיים לטאטה, ודאי יריק יעקב. דהי מבריח מן הקצה אל הקצה, מן הקצה קדמאה, דהי מי אל הקצה בתראה, דהי מה. בגין דקיים באמצעיתה, ועל דם יברא אלה. אמר רבי שמעון אלעזר בני פסוק מילך, מתגלה סתימה דרזי לעה דבני עלמא לידין, שתיק רבי אלעזר בחר רבי שמעון וקיים רגעה חדה. אמר רבי שמעון אלעזר, מהי אלה? ידי מה כוכביה ומזלי, היית חזן תמן תדיר, ובמה יתבריאו, כמה דאמר בדבר השם שמיים נעשו. אייל מילין סתימין לה לכתוב אלה, דעה יתגליה יהיו. אלא רזדה לה יתגליה, בר יומה אחת דאבינה על כיף ימה. ועתה אליהו ואמר לי, רבי ידעת מהו מי ברא אלה. אמינה עליה אילן שמיה וחלהון, עובדה דקוצ'ה בריחו דאית לברנש להסתכלה בהון, ולברך עליה דכתיב כי יראה שמך מעשה אצבעותיך וגומר. השם אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. אמר לו רבי מילה סתימה אהבה קמי קוצ'ה בריחו וגלה במטיפתא אילאה, ודאו בשעתה דסתימה, בכל סתימין באה להתגליה. עבד ברשע נקודה חדה, ודע סליק למעבה מחשבה, צייר בכל ציורין חקק בכל גליפין. ואגליף גו בוצינה קדישה סתימה, גליפו דחה ציורה סתימה, קודש קדישין. בניינה עמיקה דנפיק מגו מחשבה. היקה מי שירותה לבניינה קיימה ולה קיימה. עמיק וסתים בשמה לה יקרא אל עמי, באה להתגליה ולהתקרא בשמה דה, מתלבש בלבוש יקר דנהיר. וברא אלה וסליק אלה בשמה התחברון אדוון, אילן באילן בהשתלים בשמה אלוקים, ואללה ברא אלה לסליק בשמה אלוקים. וינון דחבו בעגלה, על רזה דנה אמרו אלה אלוקיך ישראל. וכמה דהשתתף מי באלה אחי ושמע דהשתתף תדיר וברזה דה התקיים עלמא, ופרח אליהו ולא חמיינה, לאו מני ידנה מילה דהוקמינה, על רזה וסתרה דילה. עד הרבי אלעזר וכולהו חבריה והשתתחו קמי, וכו ואמרו אלמלא לעתינה לעלמא, אלא למשמע דדי. אמר רבי שמעון, על דא שמיה וחלהון במה יתבריאו. לכתיב כי אראה שמך מעשה אצבעותיך וגומר, וכתיב מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, אשר תנה עודך על השמיים. על השמיים יהיו לסלקה בשמה, בגין דברה נאורה לנאורי, והתלבש דא בדא וסליק בשמה אלאה. ועל דא בראשית ברא אלוקים. דא אלוקים אלאה ודא מה להווי אחי ולה יתבני. אלא בשעתה דהתמשכן אדוון, אילן אלה מלאלה לטאטה, ואמא עוזיבת לברתה מעינها, וקשיתה לה בקישותה. ומתי קשיתה לה בקישותה, כתכה חזי בשעתה דהתחזון קמא כל דחורה, דכתיב אל פני האדון השם, ודאי יקרא אדון כמה דאמר, הנה ארון הברית אדון כל הארץ. כדי נפקת השם ועליית יוד, התקשיתת במני דחורה לקבלהון, בכל דחר בישראל. ודבן אחרנין משרן לא נישראל מעילה לגבי עתר דה, אלא אזכרה עד כרנה בפומי, ושפיכנה דמעי בראות נפשי. דגין להמשכה עדוון אילן, כדן עדדם מעילה עד בית אלוקים. למעבה אלוקים כגבנה דילי, ובהי בכל רינה, ותודה המון חוגג. אמר רבי אלעזר, שתיקה דילי בנה מקדשה לילה, ובנה מקדשה לטאטה, ובוודאי מילה בסלע משתוקה ביטרין. מילה בסלע מה דאמרנה, התארנה בשתוקה בשתיים, מה דשתיקנה לדבון, לבנוי טרן אלמין כחדה. אמר רבי שמעון, מכאן ולעלה השלימו דקרא, דכתיב המוציא במספר צבאם. תנדרגין אינון דהצטריך למעבר ראשים כל חד מנייהו. חד דא דהתמר מה, וחד מי, די לעם. ודת התאה די לאה ראשים ואמר המוציא במספר צבאם. המוציא ההוא דשמודה ולית כבתי גבנה דה מוציא לכם מן הארץ. המוציא ההוא דשמודה דה דרגת התאה וכל אחד במספר שיטין ריבו אינון דקיימין כחדה ואפיקו חילין וזינייהו דלת לון חושבנה. We're in verse number 20 in the first volume of the Zohar, the introduction of the Zohar. לכולם בין אינון שיטין, בין כל חילין דלהון בשם יקרא. מה בשם יקרא, איתימה דקרא לון בשמעתהון, לאו אחיהו. אם כן בשמו מבעלה, אלא בזימנה דדרגה דלה סליק בשמה פיקי מי, להוליד ולהפיק תמירין לזיני. אף על גב דחולו אבו תמירין בי כיוון דברה אלה, והסתלק בשמי ויקרא אלוקים, כדן בחילה דשמה דה, אפיק לון בשלימו ודאו בשם יקרא, בהוא שם דילי יקרא ואפיק כל זינה וזינה להתקיימה בשלימותיהון. כי גבנה דה רעה קראתי בשם, עד קרנה שמי להתקיימה בצלל על קיום השלמותי. מרוב עונים, מהי מרוב עונים? דרש תרגין, וסליקו בי הכל רעותין והסתלקו בי באורח סתים. להמיץ כוח דרזה דעלמא הילאה, והסתלק בשם אלוקים, דכאמרן איש לא נעדר. בעינון שיטין ריבו דאפיק בחילה דשמה, ובגין דאיש לא נעדר בכל אתר דמיתו ישראל והתאנשו בחובהון. התמנו לה ונעדר, מעינון שיטין ריבו אפילו חד, בגיל מהווה קולה דיוקנה חדה. כמה דאיש לא נעדר לאלה, אוף אכילה נעדר לטאטה. בראשית רב אינונה סבה מה השכחן אדוון בהיפוכה, בית בקדמיתה ולבטר בית, היינו בראשית ברא, לבטר א' בקדמיתה ולבטר א', היינו אלוקים עד. אלא כד באה קודשא בריחו למעבד עלמא כל אדוון אבו סתימין, ותרן אלפין שנין עדלה ברא עלמא, אבה מסתכל קודשא בריחו והשתעשע בהון. כד באה למברי עלמא, עטו כל אדוון קמי מסופה, הרי שהון שריעת עטף למעל ברשע אמרה ריבון עלמין. ניחא קמח למברי ביעלמא. דענך ותמה דגושפנקה דילך, אמת ועד התקריית אמת. יאות למלכה למשרה באות אמת ולמברי ביעלמא. אמר לה קודשא בריחו יאות אנ וזכאה אנט. אלא לית אנט כדאי למברי בך עלמא, הואיל ועד זמינה למעבר ראשים על מצחין דגוברין מאמינין. דקיימו אורייתא מא' ועד ת' ובשימו דילך ימותון. ועוד דאנט חותמה דמוות, הואיל ואנט כך, נטען כדאי למברי בך עלמא מיד נפקת. עלת עד שין קמי אמרת קמי, ריבון עלמין ניחא קמח למברי ביעלמא. בבי יקרא שמך שין ד' י' ויאות למברי עלמא בשמה קדישה. אמר לה יאות אנט ותו אנט וקשות אנט, אבל הואיל ואדוון וזיופה נטלין לך למהווה מעון, לבעינה למברי בך עלמא. בגין דלה יתקיים שיקרא אלא אי, יתלון לך קוף רש. מכאן, מן דבעי לנאמר שיקרא איתול יסודה דקשות בקדמיתה. ולבטר יוקים לה שיקרא, דהי עד שין, עד קשות יהוא, עד קשות דהבה, תהן דהתייחידו בה, קוף רש אדוון, דהתחיזו לה על סיטרא בישא אינון. בגין להתקיימה נטלי עד שין דגבהו, הווה קשר, כיוון דחמת אחי נפקת מקמי. עלת עד צדיק אמרה קמי, ריבון עלמא ניחא קמח למברי ביעלמא. דענה בחתימים צדיקים, ועד דהתקררה צדיק בי ראשים, דכתיב כי צדיק השם צדקות אהב, ובי יאות למברי עלמא. אמר לה צדי עד. וצדיק אנט, אבל אנט צריך למהווה תמירה. את אנט צריך להתגליה כל כך בגין דלה למהווה פתחון תלה עלמא. מה טעם נוני הוא, עתיין דשמע דברית קדישה ורכיב עלה והתאחיד בעדה ורזדה, כדברא קודשא בריחו לאדם הראשון דו פרצופין בראו. בגין כך אנפוי דיוד מהדר לאחורה כגבנה דת צדיק, ולה יתהדרו אנפין באנפין כגבנה דת צדיק. נסתכל לאלה כגבנה דת צדיק, הסתכלת לטאטה כגבנה דה אמר לה קודשא בריחו, תו דענה זמין לנסרלך, למעבד לך אפין באפין, אבל בהתראה אחרה תסתלק, נפקת מקמי ואזלת. עלת עד פי אמרה קמי ריבון אלמין, ניחא קמח למברי בני אלמה, דעה פורקנה דען זמין למעבד דאלמה בירשים ודאו בדות ובי יאות למברי אלמה. אמר לה יאות אנט, אבל בך יתרשים פשע בתמירו כגבנה בחברה דמחי, ואיל רשע בהגופי, אחי מן דחב, כפיף רשע ואפיק ידוי, וכן עין אבון אף על גב דאמרה דאית בי ענווה. אמר לה קודשא בריחו, לי ברי בך אלמה, נפקת מקמי. עלת עד סמך אמרה קמי, ריבון אלמין, ניחא קמח למברי בי אלמה, דאית בי סמיכה לנפלין, וכתיב סומך השם לכל הנופלים. אמר לה, עלתה אנ צריך לאתרח, ולה תזוז מיני, יעת נפיק מאתרח. מה תהה עליהו דהינון נפלין, נפילין הועיל והינון סמיכין עלך, מיד נפקא מקמי. עלת אתנון אמרה קמי ריבון אלמה, ניחא קמח למברי בי אלמה, וכתיב נורא תהילות, ותהילה דצדיקים נבא תהילה. אמר לה נון, טוב לאתרח, ואה בגינך, תבת סמך לאתרה, והווה סמיך עלה, מיד תבת לאתרה ונפקת מקמי. In verse number 30, in the introduction of the Zohar, עלת אתמם אמרה קמי, ריבון אלמה, ניחא קמח למברי מי אלמה, דבי יתקרא את מלך, אמר לה אחי וודאי, אבל היית ברי בך אלמה, בגין דאלמה יצטרך למלך, טוב לאתרח, אנט וו למד, וכף דהלה יאות לאלמה למעיקם בלה מלך. So I think we will finish for today. These were the first 30 verses of the Zohar from the beginning, volume number 1, from the introduction of the Zohar. It took us around 20 minutes, so stay tuned. I will post on my Facebook and my Instagram page whenever I'm going up live to continue. I plan to continue tomorrow, so I will be very happy for all of you to join as one unified force, wherever you are, in any corner in the world, to awaken together the light of the Zohar for ourselves, for our community, and for the entire world. Thank you very much for joining. Hi everyone. We're going to continue reading the Zohar, volume 1, from verse 61 to verse number 90. We want to meditate as we read the Zohar to awaken the unifying force within each one of us, within every individual, every human being in this world, gaining a new capacity and a new capability to see and to experience the light force of the Creator is what we call the concealed light. The light force of the Creator in every moment, in every situation, gaining a new ability to perceive life, every moment of our lives, through the eyes of the Creator. When we are capable to see how every little thing that happened in our process, it's for the sake of elevating us, and there is no bad happens, we will all be able to feel different and to support each other in this process of life in a whole different way. We want to elevate ourselves, elevate the world to a whole new level, to bring the energy of peace. בראשית רבי שמעון פתח ואשים דברי בפיך. כמה היית לאה לברנש להשתדלה באורייתא יממה ולילה בגין דקודשא בריחו ציית לכלהון דהינון במתעסקי באורייתא ובכל מילה דהתחדש באורייתא על ידה דהרו דהשתדל באורייתא אביד הרקיעה חדה. תנן בהי שעתה. דמילה דאורייתא התחדש בפומי דבר נש, ההיא מילה סלקה והתעדת קמי קודשא בריחו וקודשא בריחו נטיל להיא מילה. ונשי כלה ועתר לה בשבעים יתרין דליפין מחקיקן ומילה דחוכמתה נתחדשה סלקה ויתווה על רישה דצדיק חי עלמין. וטסה מתאמן ושתה ב70,000 עלמין. וסליקת לגבי עתיק יומין בכל מילין דעתיק יומין מילין דחוכמתה אינון ברזין סתימין עילאין. והיא מילה סתימה דחוכמתה להתחדשת אחא כד סלקה התחברת בעינון מילין דעתיק יומין וסלקה ונחתה בדייהו. ועלת דמנסר עלמין גניזין דאין לא ראתה אלוקים זולתך נפקי מתאמן ושתן ועתיין מלאן ושלמין. והתעדדו כמה עתיד יומין באי שעתה רך עתיק יומין באי מילה וניחא קיימה מכולה נטיל להאי מילה ועתר לה בתלת 170,000 יתרין. האי מילה תסד וסלקת ונחתה והתעבידה רקיעה חדה. וכן כל מילה ומילה דחוכמתה התעבדין רקיעים קיימים בקיומה שלים קיימי עתיק יומין וארוכי לון שמיים חדשים. שמיים מחודשים סתימין דרזי דחוכמתה אילאה. וכל אינון שאר מילין דאורייתא מתחדשים קיימין קיימי קודשא בריחו וסלקין והתעבידו ארצות החיים. ונחתין והתעטרין לגבי ארץ חד והתחדש והתעביד כולה ארץ חדשה מהאי מילה להתחדש באורייתא. ואל דכתיב כי כאשר השמיים החדשים והארץ החדשה אשר אני עושה עומדים לפניי וגומר עשיתי לכתיב אל העושה. דעבד תדיר מעינון חידושין ורזין דאורייתא. ואל דכתיב ואשים דבריי בפיך ובצל ידי כיסיתיך לנטוע השמיים ולסוד ארץ. השמיים להכתיב אל השמיים. אמר רבי אלעזר מהו בצל ידי כיסיתיך? אמר לאה בשעתה דהתמסר אורייתא למשה עטו כמה ריבו דמלאכי עילאים ואוקדה עליה בשלובותה דפוגמהון הדחפה עליה קודשא בריחו ואשתא דהי מילה סלקה והתעטרת וקיימה קמי קודשא בריחו יחפי על ההיא מילה וחסי על ההוא ברנש דלה ישמודה לגביהו אלא קודשא בריחו ולה יקנאון לגבי עד יתעביד מהי מילה שמיים חדשים וארץ חדשה. הדאוד הכתיב בצל ידי כיסיתיך לנטוע שמיים מסוד ארץ מכאן לכל מילה דסתים מעינה סלקה לתועלתה אילאה. הדאוד הכתיב בצל ידי כיסיתיך והמאי יתחפי ויתכנס ויתכסי מעינה בגין לתועלתה אילאה. הדאוד הכתיב לנטוע שמיים ולסוד ארץ כמה דהתמר. ולאמור לציון עמי יעתה ולאמור לעינון תרין ומילין דמצוינין אילין. על ידי עמי אתה, אל תקרא עמי אתה, אלא עמי אתה. למהווה שותפה עמי, מענה במילולה דילי, אבידת שמיים וארץ, כמה דאמר בדבר השם שמיים נעשו, הופכי את, זכאין אינון דמשתדלי באורייתא. ואיתמה דמילה לכל ברנש דלה ידה, אבדה, תחזי, ההוא דלה ורחי ברזין דאורייתא, וחידש מילין דלה ידה על בורירון. כי יתקע יעוד וההיא מילה סלקה ונפיק לגבי ההיא מילה איש תהפוכות לשום שקר מגון נוקבה דתאומה רבה ודלק 500 פרסה לקבלה לההיא מילה ונתי לה ואזלי בההיא מילה לגון נוקבי ועביד בה רקיעה דשב דקרא תוהו ותס בהוא רקיעה ההוא איש תהפוכות שיטה אלפי פרסה בזמנה חדה כיוון דההיא רקיעה דשב כהם נפקת מיד אשת זנונים והתקף בהוא רקיעה דשב, והשתתפת ביה ומתאמן נפקת וקטלת כמה אלפין וריבן. בגיד אחד קיימת אהו רקיעה, התלה רשו ליחלה למהווה טס כל אמה בריגה חדה. In verse number 70, in volume number 1, meditating to access the concealed light, the energy, the insights, the clarity that usually we don't have. Within the energy of the Zohar, we gaining a new capacity, new ability, and awakening ourselves and the world to be able to tap into the unifying force among all of us. ועל דכתיב, אבון מושכי האבון בחבלי השב, ואבון דת חורה, וכאבות העגלה חטאה, מן חטאה, דנו כבד דיקראי חטאת. יהיו משיך ואהוד דיקראי אבון בעינון חבלי השב, ולבטה כעבוד העגלה חטאה, להאי נוקבה דיקראי חטאה. דתמן התקפת למהווה טס לקטלה בני נשה, ועל דה כי רבים וחללים מפילם. מניפילה דה היא חטאה דקטלה בני נשה, מנגרם דה תלמיד חכם, דלה מטה להוראה ומורה, רחמנה לשזבן. אמר רבי שמעון, רבריה במטוטה מנייכו, דלה תנפוק, תפקון מפומיכון, מילה דאורייתא דלה ידעון ולה שמעתו מילנה דרבבה כתקייאות. בגין דלה תאבון גרמין לארוך התאה לקטלה אוכלוסין דברנש למגנה. פתחו כולהון ואמרו רחמנן לשזבן רחמנה לשזבן. תחזי באורייתא ברקות שבריחו עלמא ואהו כמנה דכתיב ואהיה אצלו המון ויש שעשועים יום יום. ויהיו הסתכל בה זמנה ותרן ותלתאה וארבע זמנים. ולבטר אמר לון ולבטר עבד בה אבידה לא אלפה לבני נשה דלה יתון למתאי בה. כמה דאמר אז ראה ויספרה הכינה וגם חקרה ויאמר לאדם. ולקביל ארבעה זמנים אינון דכתיב אז ראה ויספרה הכינה וגם חקרה. ברקות שבריחו מה דברה ועד לה הפיק אבידתה והיא לארבעה תיבין וקדמיתה דכתיב בראשית ברא אלוקים את הארבעה ולבטר השמיים אינו לקבל ארבעה זמנים להסתכל קודשא בריך ובאורייתא עד לה יפק אבידתה לאמונתה. רבי אלעזר רבה אזיל למחמי רבי יוסי ברבי שמעון בן לקוניה חמוי. רבי אבא בעדי רבה תאי חד גברא אבטריהו אמר רבי אבא נפתח פתחין דאורייתא דעה שעתה וידנה הוא להתקנה באורחה. כתב רבי אלעזר ואמר את שבתותיי תשמורו תחזי בשיט יומין ברא קודשא בריחו עלמא בכל יומה ויומה גלה אבידתה ויהיב חילה בארור יומה. ומתי גלה לאבידתה ויהיב חילה ביומה רביעייה בגין דהינון תלת יומין קדמאין כולהו אבוס תימין ולה התגלה. כיוון דעתה יומה רביעייה אפיק אבידתה וחילה דכולהו דעה אישה ומיה ורוחה. אף על גב דהינון תלת יסודין עילאין כולהו טליין ולה התגליין אבידתה דלהון עד הארעה גללון כדן התיידה ומנותה דכל חד מניהו. ויתימה ביומה תלתאה אהבה דכתיב תדשי הארץ דשא וכתיב ותוצא הארץ אלא היי אף על גב דכתיב ביומה תלתאה רביעייה אהבה והתקלל ביומה תלתאה למהווה חד בלה פירודה. ולבטר יומה רביעייה התגלה אבידתה להפקה ומנה לאמונתה דכל חד וחד. בגין דיומה רביעייה התרגלה רביעייה דקורסיה אלה וחד אבידתהון דכולהון בן יומין קדמאים ובן יומין בקלעים אבו תליין ביומה דשבתה עדהו דכתיב ויכל אלוקים ביום השביעי דשבת ודאו רגלה רביעייה דקורסיה. ויתימה יחי מהו את שבתותיי תשמורו תן ילה שבת דמעלה שבתה ושבתה דיומה ממש לית לון פירודה. In verse number 80, the last 10 verses for today, I want to meditate to awaken all the energy, all the assistance, all the miracles and wonders that any of us needs. Meditate for other people as well. אמר ההוא תאיה דאהבה תאין בתריהו ומהו מקדשי תיראו. אמר לה דא קידושה דשבת. אמר לה ומהו קידושה דשבת. אמר לו דא קידושה דהתמשכה מלעילה. אמר לה אי אחי אבידתה לשבת דלה יהוא קודש אלא קידושה דשריה עלוי מלעילה. אמר רבי אבא ואחי הוא וקראת לשבת עונג לקדוש השם מכובד. אדקר שבת לחוד וקדוש השם לחוד. אמר לה אי אחי מן קדוש השם. אמר לה קדושה דנחתה מלעילה ושריה עליהו. אמר לה אי קדושה דתמשכה מלעילה דיקריה מכובד. התחזה דשבת לה ויהוא מכובד וכתיב וכיבדתו. אמר רבי אלעזר לרבי אבא אנח לאי גברא דמילה דחוכמתה אית בי דענן לה ידעה בה אמרו לה אימן אנט. פתח ואמר את שבתותיי את להסגאה תחום שבת ויהוא טרן על פין אמין לכל סיטרא. ובגין כך הסגי את שבתותיי דשבת אילאה ושבת התאה דהינון טרן כלילן כחדה וסתימה כחדה. השתער שבת אחרה דלה ידקר ואהבה בכיסופה אמרה קמי מראה דעלמא מיומה אבידת לי שבת יתקרניין ויומה לאו יהוא בלה לילה. אמר לה ברתי שבת אנט דשבת קרניין לך אבל ענה מעתר לך ביתרה אילאה יתיר. העבר כרוזה ואמר מקדשי תיראו ודשבת דמעלה שבתה והיא יראה. בשריה באה יראה ומה ניהו בקודשא בריחו אכליל ואמר אני השם. וענה שמענה מאבא דאמר אחי לדייק את להסגאה תחום שבת. שבתותיי דה עיגולה וריבוע דלגו ואינון תרן ולקביל אינון תרן. אית תרן קדושתי דאית לנו להדקרה חד ויכולו וחד קדוש ויכולו ידבה תלתין וחמש תיבין מקדושה דענן מקדשים, תלתין וחמש תיבין, וסלי קולה לשבעין שמהן דקודשא בריחו כנסת ישראל התעתר בהון. ובגין דעיגולה וריבועה דה, עינון שבתותי כלילן תרברו ושמור, דכתיב תשמור, דהה שבת הילאה, אחא לה יתקלל בשמור אלא בזכור, דהה מלכה הילאה בזכור יסתיים, ואל דה יקרא מלכה דשלמה דילי, או שלמה דילי זכור יהוא, ואל דה לית מחלוקת לאלה. בגין דטרן שלומות לתת אחד יעקב אחד יוסף, בגין כך כתיב טרן זמנין שלום שלום לרחוק ולקרוב, לרחוק דה יעקב ולקרוב דה יוסף, לרחוק כמה דאמר מרחוק השם נראה לי ותתצב אחותו מרחוק, ולקרוב כמה דאמר חודשים מקרוב באו. מרחוק דה נקודה הילאה דקיימה בהיכלה ועל דה כתיב תשמורו יתקלל בשמור מקדשי תיראו, דה נקודה דקיימה באמצעיתה דאית לדחלה מינה יתיר מקולה. דרוק שם איתה דהינו דכתיב מחלליה מות יומת, מן מחלליה, מן דעה לגו, חלל ועיגולה וריבועה, ולאתר דהאו נקודה, שריה פגים בה מות יומת, ועל דכתיב תיראו, והאי נקודה יקי אני, ועלה שריה וסדסתים הילאה, דלה התגליה, והיינו י' כו' וכל אחד, נחתו רבי שמעון ורבי אבא ונשקו. רבי אלעזר ורבי אבא ונשקו. אמרו מן כל חוכמתה דאית תחון ידך, ואת העין אבטרין. אמרו לה מת אנט, אמר לון לא תשאלון מן אנט, אלא אנא ואתון נזל ונתעסק באורייתא. בכל חד ימה מילין דחוכמתה להנהרה וברוכה. אמרו לה מן יהב לה למזל אחר למהווה טעון בחמרי. אמר לון יוד עבד קרבה ביטרן עדוון, בכף וסמך להתקשרה בידי, כף לה באה להסתלגה ולהתקשרה, בתרדלה יכלה למהווה ריגה חדה אלא ב. שמח לה באה להסתלקה, בגיל לסעדה דעינון דנפלין, דלה בלי סמך לה יכלין למהווה. יודך לגבי יחידה נשיק לה וגפיף לי, בכה עמי ואמר לי, ברי מאי יעביד לך, אבל הענה הסתלק והענה התמלא מכמה תבין ועדוון פנירין אילאים יקירין, בתר כן עתי לגבה, וענה והי סעיד לך ואתן לך אכסנאה דטרן עדוון אילאים, יתיר מאילן דהסתלקו דינון יש יוד אילאה, ושיט אילאה למהווה לך אוצרים מליה מקולה בינקח ברי, זיל והווה תאין חמרה ועל דה אנא אזל בכך. חדו רבי אלעזר ורבי אבא ובחו, ואמרו זיל רכיב וענן נתאין אבטרח. אמר לון ולה אמרית לכון דפיקודה דמלכה יהיו, עד דהתה ההוא דטען חמרי אמרו לי, אשמח לאמרת לן, אתר בי מוטובך, מי הוא? אמר לון, אתר בי מוטבי, יהיו תו ועילה לגבי. ויהיו מגדל חד דפרח באווירה, רב ויקירה וינון דתאין, באה בעי מגדלה, קודשא בריחו וחד מסכנה. ודאו אתר בית מודבי, וגליין מתאמן וענן תאי חמרי. השגחו רבי אבא ורבי אלעזר ביה, ועתים לון מילוי דאבו מתיקים כמנה ודובשה. אמרו לה שמע דאבוך איתימה, נמשיק עפרה דרגלך. אמר לון ועמי, לאו אורח דילי בכך להתגאה באורייתא. אבל אבא דילי אבה דיורה בימה רבה, ויהיו אבה אחד מונה דאבה שכר ימה רבה, מסתרא דה לסתרא דה, ואבה רב ויקירה ועתיק יומין. עד אבה בלה כל שאר נונים דימה, ולבטה רפיק לון חיים וקיימין מליין, מכל תבין דעלמא. בשעת ימה בריגה חדה, בתוקפי להפיק להיקגירה בידה דכבר תקיף, תמיר לי דהרו עתה דאמרית לכון, והוא תב לאתרי והדגניז בהרו ימה. Verse number 9, the final verse for today, meditating to awaken all the assistance, all the light, all the energy, the miracles and the wonders, healing, anything that any of us needs. Think about your friends, family, the world. We want to awaken all of this light to everyone. השגח רבי אלעזר במילוי, אמר לה, אנט וברי דבוצינה קדישה, אנט וברי דרב הימנה סבא, אנט וברי דניהורו דאורייתא. ואנט אין אבטרן בכו כחדה ונשקו ואזלו אמרו לי הניחה קיימה מרנה להודעה לן שמיה. Thank you very much everyone. Make sure that you share it with friends who are interested to be part in reading the Zohar. from the beginning, volume number 1, slowly, every time we read 30 verses. Have an amazing and blessed day. Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Before we start, I want to share with you my goal before starting this little project, reading the Zohar with many of you who are joining us. From the beginning, I thought it would be great light if we can bring at least another 100 souls and other individuals to connect and to read this year the Zohar more than any other time. So 100 people reading the Zohar from the beginning, and each time 30 verses, dedicating more time, more energy to awaken the energy of the Zohar in the world. As I mentioned before, and you heard about it in different classes, the Rav very often would say it's all about the Zohar, the light that shines from the Zohar. I'm very happy you're joining me, and I hope you share it with friends who care about what we do and would be interested, have the desire to be part in what we do. And I would like to read a small section from the book I mentioned before by Michael Berg, Secrets of the Zohar. So Michael speaks about the importance of appreciation. Often in life, we may miss out on great gifts. We don't make the most of the great blessings that are available to us because we don't appreciate that has been given. Kabbalah teaches that to gain the benefit of the gifts that are intended for us, we need to have appreciation for them. This is also true for the spiritual tools we've been given, and especially for the Zohar. To maximize the connection to the light that takes place when we study passages from the Zohar, including what we do, we should nurture our appreciation for what the Zohar is and for how it was created. As the Zohar...
What up, Zach? This is some kind of playlist on YouTube. I'll be right back. If you want to read some Tanya or some other meditation work, I'll be right back.
Itself tells us its secrets were meant to be concealed until our generation, which is called the generation of Messiah. This doesn't refer to a person, but to a level of global consciousness that is achieved by all humankind. So this is what we want to do. We want to raise the level of our appreciation for the tools, for the Zohar, for the light that we want to awaken, and we want to bring this new level of appreciation into every area of our lives. Since appreciation, it is the key to access the light which is concealed within every blessing. And we want, with the tool of the Zohar, to awaken a global consciousness of human dignity, of love and care for each other, energy of peace. פתח ואמר, ובניהו בן יהוידע, היקרא הוקמה ושפיר יהיו. אבל היקרא לארזה ארזין עילאין דאורייתא הוא דעתה. ובניהו בן יהוידע, על רזה דחוכמתה, כעתה מילה סתימה יהיו, ושמה גרים בן איש חי. דת צדיק חי, אלמין. רב פעלים מראי בכל עובדין וכל חילין עילאים. בגין דחולהו נפקין מניו, השם צבקות יהיו עוד הוא בכל חיילין דידי רשימו ורב מכולם. רב פעלים יהיו מקבצי קל, עין ענרה ויקירה רב מכולם, מן אתר נפק, מן דרגתה, האדר קרא ואמר מקבץ קל. דרגה הילאה סתימאה, דעין לא ראתה וגומר. דרגה דכל הבי וקניש, בגבי ומגוי נאורה הילאה, ומנה נפיק כולה. ויהיו היכלה קדישה סתימה, לכל דרגין כניסין וסתימין בגבי. ובגופה דהי חלה קיימין כל עלמין וכל חיילים קדישים מיני יצאנו וקיימה על קיימוהון. הוא היכה את שני אריאל מואב, תן מקדשין קיימין בגינה ויצאנו מיני. מקדש ראשון ומקדש שני, כיוון דיהו הסתלק, נגידו דאהבה נגיד מלעילה, התמנה כביכול, הוא היכה לון וחריב לון ושצי לון. מקורסיה קדישה נפלה, תדע דכתיב אני בתוך הגולה, ההוא דרגה דיקה אני הוא בתוך הגולה, עמי, הנהר גבר, הנהר דנגיד ונפיג דפסיק, מיומוי ומברוי, ולן גיד כד דקדמיתה, דאו דכתיב ונהר יחרב ויבש, יחרב בבית ראשון ויבש בבית שני. בגין כך הוא היכה את שני אריאל מואב. מואב דאבו מאב דבשמיה דתחרבו, תציעו בגיני וכל נאורים דאבו נאורים לישראל כולהו התחשכו. ותו הוא ירד והיכה את הארי בזמנים קדמאים כדאי נהר אבה משיך מיומו לתתה אבו קיימין ישראל בשלימו לדבחין דבחין וקורבנים לכפרה על נפשיו קדם אבה נחית מלעילת יוקנה דאחד אריה ואבו חמן לית על גב מטבחה אביץ על טרפי אכיל קורבנים כי גבר תקיף וכל קלבין אבו מתמרים מקמי ולן נפקי לבר. כיוון דגרמו חובין איהו נחית לגוד דלגין דלתתה וקטיל להרו אריה דהה בעל מהב לאה טרפה כדבקדמיתה כביכול קטילה ההוא היכה את הארי ודאי לתוך הבור לעיניה דסיתה אחר בישה כיוון דחמת.
For over 17 years, I had an abusive relationship with the P word, and logically, I knew that it was detrimental to my relationship with my wife, my relationship with God, and my relationship with myself, because I kept telling myself that I would quit over and over, and I would prove myself wrong over and over and over. And as this went on, I felt my mental health on a decline, and I wasn't able to quit.
Well, that's because you're looking at porn all the time, kid. Okay, welcome back to Zohar Joy. This is Joy. Zach, welcome back to the Mass Hypnosis Experiment. How's your rest of your day going? Oh, Joy called us. Oh, my God. The real Joy.
Danny, I'm sorry that I moved you to the audience. I didn't mean to insult you.
You kicked me from the room.
No, I moved you to the audience.
I was kicked out of the room.
Somebody else kicked you and then blamed it.
I was very sad, and that was a real story of this guy. And he had this big house, and he used to call his attic Anne Frank's attic.
That's creepy. Is that the end of the story?
Well, I think he was listening to Metallica on the boat, and he broke the boat. And he tried to kiss me too. I think he had a thing for Jewish girls because, like, he married one.
Well, there you go. And you're still unmarried.
Who said that? I'm unmarried. This is my husband. Do you see my pictures? My husband. I could ping him here. He's a Greek man with a small package.
Call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is...
Okay, Danny, we're doing hypnosis work in here. Not useless comedy discourse. I love your comedy, and I love your comment about your sweatpants. It was hilarious. It wasn't me that kicked you, or it wasn't me that stopped you. It was somebody else in the room that didn't like, you know, what you were talking about. It's not personal, and it wasn't me, and it wasn't Zach.
It was me who moved her to the audience.
Okay, I'm going to restart my YouTube live. Whoever's watching, re-click on the profile and go to the new stream.
And
Okay.
here's my new logo. It's a clown in action.
Really? That sounds interesting. Let's see. Oh, fantastic. Do you know what the clown represents? The fool or the magician?
Sorry.
Okay, I'll give you 3 options for hypnosis for the next 30 minutes. Metaphysical Meditations by Paramahansa Yogananda, the Tanya by Rabbi, whatever his name is, or by the Alter Rebbe. Or you could hear something, you could hear the wild card.
Considered a fool because I dropped out of high school.
The third option is Julius Caesar. Which one? Choice A, B, or C?
I picked Biggie Smalls.
Biggie? So you want Tanya, huh?
You know, Biggie Smalls is an oxymoron, and I just figured that out. That's a huge epiphany.
I never knew that either. That's amazing. Okay, this is my pre-Shabbos Torah Tanya Kabbalah Shabbalat. I hope you enjoy. This is called The Secret Yearning for the Good. Take the deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. You have two natures, physical and spiritual, and each has its own voice. The physical speaks a self-serving passion through the left side of your heart. Also, I'm going to pin the link to my YouTube channel if you want to watch the YouTube live. Or you want to see any Clubhouse playbacks. It's Love, Art, Joy.
I just made a new post on Instagram.
Man, do start working on YouTube with me. We will be successful. I promise you. We will be successful. I need warlords such as yourself.
Look, I'm a peace lord Jew.
I need battle lords. I need battle lords.
Money. I love money so much. That's all I talk about for my whole life, and everyone hates me for it.
That's okay. You're seeking wisdom. King Nav in the house.
King Nav is here.
A real
trumper.
Trump.
Where's Stefan? Where's Stefan?
Hey, Joy, how are you? It's been a long time.
King
What was
Nav.
that from Romeo and Juliet. I see King Nav has been with you.
King Nav, this is
Anybody
not...
know what I'm talking about? No.
King Nav, this is Edmund Dakin, a.k.a. John Kitover in Chicago. This is not your friend Joy.
Sorry to hear that.
But we called Joy and she didn't pick up. She did call us back, though. You want to hear her voicemail?
Hi, John. It's Joy. Just touching base with you, seeing how you're doing. Shabbat Shalom. Happy holidays.
Wait, she said Shabbat Shalom, but she didn't say Shalom Shabbat? What the hell?
It's not Islam. What are you talking about?
No, you're supposed to say it both ways. Shabbat Shalom.
You're supposed to say
Shalom.
Ashalaikum Shabbat.
Oh, say Shalom Bimramav.
What's up, Zach? Long time, bro.
I've been here, but I've been Ishmael the gorilla.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
What are you doing today, King Nav?
Oh, I was just visiting a Pakistani guy at a 7-Eleven, telling him how his people suck and that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, I am too. Yeah, and then now I'm headed back to my office.
Nice.
But I convinced the Pakistani guy to give me free coffee, so that was good.
Is there something we could do for your business in terms of marketing communications or data gathering?
Nah, I'm good. Thank you, though.
I'm really good at everything because I'm a woman.
Can you pull a Kamala?
A Kamala? What did Kamala do?
I don't know. What is a Kamala?
A Kamala Harris?
Okay.
Okay, so Nav, King, what's your real name, by the way?
Naveen.
John
Naveen.
Edmund.
Naveen, right? So Naveen, what's your spiritual life like? You are a Hindu, right? Or are you a Christian? I don't know.
I think he's Christian.
Yeah, I'm very spiritual.
I know there's a lot of Christian Indians, aka Hindu Christians, but what are you? I mean, do you study any meditation work? What are you doing for your spiritual sustenance?
You ever play the game Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Naveen, why are you gay?
You know that
Vita, baby?
You know that guy Dalsim in Street Fighter? That's me.
Yeah, the yogi.
Yep.
Street Fighter.
Are you
I
doing
played
yoga?
that on Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
I'm traveling.
You are doing yoga? You're doing yoga?
I do yoga a lot, yeah. I mean, usually I'm able to get from my house down the road just by floating with doing yoga.
Oh, you're that kind of a guru. But you're divorced, right? You didn't have a successful marriage.
Yep.
Did you kill your wife like that Indian guy did?
No, I didn't kill her. I ate her, but I didn't.
So, King
No,
Nav.
don't do that. Don't do that. What's that guy's name that everyone loves so much? What's his name? With an S?
Danny, you're...
Child,
Sadhguru?
Sadhguru, yeah.
Yeah, Sad Guru, the sad guru guy. Someone said that he did that to his wife.
Yep.
Danny.
Allegedly.
Danny.
He sacrificed his wife for his own.
Danny, you're married, right?
Yes.
So why do you... What could you tell the King Nav? Like, what is the success of the love in your relationship?
It's like that Gin Blossom song. If you don't expect too much from me, you might not be let down.
So what you're saying is you're easy to love because you're stupid.
Sorry to hear that.
No, just have very low expectations all around and your life will be very happy.
What do you think about that, King Nav? Were your expectations too high or were your wife's expectations too high?
I do not know. Get it? Donut?
So do you think that your divorce is a result of your anger? I mean, do you look back on your divorce and regret it and say, I wish I could have figured out a different way?
Not really. I don't look back in life on anything.
But you do realize, I mean, do you accept any guilt or blame for your divorce?
Nope.
So you're just a very narcissistic, self-centered asshole who doesn't give a fuck about his ex-wife or his kids?
No, I do. Actually, I take care of them very well.
But you're divorced, doesn't it? Isn't that like a punch in the gut to know that you don't have your wife and kids, in your presence? No. So you you're totally nirvana'd out, huh?
Yep.
It doesn't sound very convincing. The point of this room, King Nav, is this is a hypnosis room where we read. It's where we read books in order to make ourselves smarter. Have you ever said anything intelligent on this app?
Nope.
I mean, I've heard you say a lot of political insight and commentary, and that to me is a form of intelligence. I think you're very accurate in your assessments, and you seem to know a lot of information from inside sources. So, you're a treasure trove of information, and I've been recording you for years, and I've liked everything you've ever said. So thank you, sir.
No problem for the free content. But I demand 50-cent royalty per view.
Good luck, because I get 0 cents. So in the future, you'll get a negative percentage of maybe a small percentage. But that's neither here nor there because we're not making any money from you yet.
Notice the last word.
Wouldn't it be funny if everything in civilization was completely erased except for John's recordings, and then future societies had to reconstruct what life was like based on the content?
Zach, are you still chopping wood in the forest?
In a manner of speaking.
That's a good thing to abracadabra. No.
King Nav, look at my PTR at the link above, Lovejoy Art. That is me
I'm driving. Sorry.
That's me in a golden fox. What's that guy's name? Anyways.
Do you think Bitcoin will break 100? And is it a simulated holographic universe?
No, it's a real universe. But you're so stupid, you've never even seen a picture of a supernova.
Sorry to hear that.
Where were you when we were getting high?
Where were the Jews when you were getting high?
No. In Champagne Supernova?
You said where were Jew when I was getting high? That's what you said.
Where were you?
Jew. That's what I heard.
Okay, King Nav, I'm putting her in the goo because though Danny, I really like you. I do want to let King Nav say some things before I conduct this free, 3-minute hypnosis for him. King Nav, any other talk therapy or dopamine feedback looping you want to get out of this conversation?
Nope, but I want to let you know I'm going to go talk politics in Roger's room because he just pinged me like 15 times. So.
Okay, fantastic.
I'll talk to you guys later. It's nice talking to you.
Sorry to hear that.
Have a great day.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, did he leave? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Danny doesn't want to join the stage. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Danny, if you want to come back, you can come back up, but I am actually going to read a book. I'm sorry, but I do not want to hear you really talk about anything.
That's fine. I understand. I'll recover.
I mean, what I would like from you is commentary on the readings and try to listen and take this as like a break and a pause from your day here on the shit app and make this a real meditation for yourself because I'm reading to you real powerful spiritual hypnotic words which should increase your IQ. So, Zach, anything else you want to say before I start the reading?
My IQ has reached its maximum at 75.
Listen, if you're
reading is good. I was liking the Zohar podcast too. What was that?
Yeah,
that was just on YouTube. I typed in Zohar audiobook.
Where's Rav, dude?
Hi, Abby. Welcome to the room. I'm about to do a hypnosis for you. And if Danny interrupts me, I'll quickly put her in the goo.
Can you maybe do hypnosis that makes me feel better? I feel really bad.
Why do you feel bad?
There's a lot of things going on.
Okay, I'll read you Tanya. So take the deepest breath of the day. This is a trans meditation. You're going to become trans after you hear this. Be careful. I warned you. This is called distracting thoughts. Evil thoughts can even arise during study and prayer, and if they do, you should ignore them entirely and avert your mind from them immediately. Do not try to examine these thoughts, for that is a task for the righteous in whom evil finds no root. But the evil you experience is rooted in your own selfishness. Do not be dejected because of this. Rather, redouble your efforts to concentrate your mind, and in this way fill yourself with joy and gladness, realizing that distractions arise because your prayer and study are approaching selflessness. When distractions arise, ignore them, and answer not fools according to their folly, lest you too become a fool. What if you cannot ignore them? Then humble yourself before God, and ask God to rescue you from these turbulent waters.
My husband's here.
Okay, this is the subnotes. Psalm 124:5. It is one thing to be distracted by negative thoughts during regular moments of the day, but what if they occur during times specifically devoted to spiritual practice? Does this mean that you are failing in your practice? Not at all. In fact, it means just the opposite. Our sages taught the greater the person, the greater the Yetzer Hara, evil inclination, Talmud Sukkah, 52a, that is the Yetzer Hatov. Good inclination is always balanced by the Yetzer Hara, and you cannot escape from one to the other. This is why few sinners are beyond redemption, and few saints are beyond temptation. The challenge is not to eliminate the negative thinking, but to deal with it effectively. For the righteous, the best way to deal with such thoughts is to examine them thoroughly, and in so doing to discover that they too are part of the divine non-duality, shlemut. For the in-betweener, however, such examination may result in becoming obsessed with such thoughts. Hence, the best way for the in-betweener to deal with the negative thoughts is to let them go. Do not feed them either by resisting them or by entertaining them. If they come, let them go. Yet there may be times when you cannot ignore the madness in your mind. Even then the thoughts can be useful, for they remind you of your limitations and humble you to the point where all you can do is cry out to God. And that act of complete humbling is often enough to awaken you to your true nature as a manifestation of God. Okay, these are the other sub-notes. It says, Timtum Halev, a dull heart, a heart numb to all feeling. The Zohar, Book of Splendor, was written in 13th century Spain by Rabbi and mystic Moses de Leon, a mystical commentary on the Bible. The Zohar is the foundational text of medieval Jewish Kabbalah. Zohar 3:168. Some obstacles are simply too great to be taken on directly. They need to be broken up into smaller, more manageable pieces. This is true of a dull heart. You cannot simply will your heart to feel, but must arouse it slowly, bit by bit. By changing those thoughts, words, and deeds that dull the heart in the first place. Talmud Berachot. This doesn't mean that you will pit good against evil, but that you will realize that just as evil grows to match the good, so now good will grow to balance the evil. This is called a dull heart. Just as an active and distracting mind is one challenge, a dull and lifeless heart is another. To arouse a dull heart, follow the advice of the Holy Zohar. A wooden beam that does not burn should be splintered, and a body opaque to light should be crushed. How is this done? By observing the foolish in your thoughts, words, deeds, and dreams, and by reading the lives and teachings of the saints. In this way you will tremble and sin not. That is, you will rouse the good against the evil. In this way you discover that the other side also serves God. Offering you another way to awaken to your unity with God, it is merely being granted permission to confuse you with false and deceitful words, in order that you may be more richly rewarded. Okay, these are the subnotes. You know, Danny, I think you're funny, and the thing about Clubhouse to me is, if somebody interrupts me, it's like a reminder to me, like, don't get angry. There's no reason to get angry. And, you know, I'll let you talk. I mean, I can take a break from reading. So, you know, it's just kind of to your detriment not to try to listen to some of this professionally. I think you're just a very immature girl, which is cool, and you're funny, and that's okay, and you're married, and you don't need rectification. That's the thing about women, is I do this work mostly for myself and for men. But if a woman should happen to enjoy what I'm reading, well, then that's fantastic. I'm just teasing you, Danny. Zach, if you want to invite her up, bring her up.
I already invited her. Abby has to invite her now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is the
Why
last.
isn't it talking?
Danny, this is the last part of the commentary. You do this by comparing your thoughts, words, deeds, and even dreams to those of spiritual giants. This will awaken a
Is
sense.
Dimitri here? Is he even here?
He's in the room, yeah. He's listening, I guess. Dimitri, you want to say anything?
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Dimitri?
Okay, I'm going to continue reading. Here we go. This will awaken a sense of trembling. You will be shocked by the lifelessness that has entrapped
But why
you.
isn't he talking?
Because he's probably either a bot or something else. Why do you keep asking? Do you know?
No, that's her husband.
Oh, really? Okay, this
Yeah,
is...
I think he's like doing something weird.
I think that's like a fake account, probably.
No, he's new.
Let me see. Maybe he just doesn't know how to use it. He's only
I
got
told
3
you,
friends.
it's a Greek man with a small package. He's just not answering.
Oh, I see. That's funny. Look at your PTR. That's cool. Okay, I'm going to finish this reading. If you interrupt me one more time, I will kick you back to the group.
I don't know if he's mad at me.
Okay, here we go. It's almost finished. This will awaken a sense of trembling. You will be shocked by the lifelessness that has entrapped you, by how far you have fallen into the despair of the Sitra Achra, the other side, that aspect of you that falls prey to selfishness and alienation. And this sense of horror will in fact awaken your innate sense of goodness, the Yetzer Hatov. In this way, you will come to value the other side as yet another gift from God. For without the harrowing darkness, there is no value to the hallowing light. Just as Yetzer Hatov balances Yetzer Hara, so light balances darkness. Each goes with the other, and together they partake of the non-duality of God. God manifests as the other side, Sitra Achra, and the shells of self, Kelipot, in order to provide you with the dark against which the light can shine and be known. God gives rise to foolishness, that you may discover wisdom. God allows for dullness, that you might tremble with life. Everything is as it is to provide you with the opportunity to see what is. Okay, these are subnotes. Those who suffer from timtum halav, dullness of heart, cannot address their situation directly. They cannot simply rouse themselves to love of God or neighbor, for dull hearts lack this kind of passion. The temptation of timtum halav is to deny how dull your heart is by focusing on the sins of others. The dull of heart rarely sin. They simply lack the energy to do so. Their error is to mistake the absence of temptation as a sign that they have defeated their evil inclination, Yetzer Hara. They see the struggles of others to resist temptations and imagine themselves to be morally and spiritually superior. Their pride masks their dullness and excuses their lack of spiritual maturation. The Alter Rebbe's antidote to dullness of heart is to cultivate true humility by imagining yourself in the place of those for whom temptation is a serious challenge. In other words, he wants you to use your imagination to set your evil inclination ablaze, like a flaming fire, Hosea 7:6. This may sound counterintuitive. Isn't the evil inclination our enemy? No. On the contrary, the evil inclination, properly understood and employed, is the catalyst for tshuva, or teshuvah, returning to God and godliness. The desire of the inclination is not for evil, but to arouse your compassion for self and others by awakening you to the presence of evil and the suffering evil causes when it isn't yoked to the inclination for good, Yetzer Hatov. Placing yourself in the shoes of others awakens you to your limitations, even as it humbles you in the face of theirs. Okay, I just heard a couple gunshots. This is called cultivating humility. Moving through the dullness of heart requires you to work with it rather than against it. Working with it, you must be humble before everyone. Being humble, you must not judge others until you stand in their place. There are those whose situation surrounds them with illicit delights and places them in constant temptation. And there are those in whom temptation burns like a flaming fire. You cannot know the fierceness of their struggle to resist temptation, for the inclination toward evil is unique to each of us. Therefore, weigh and examine your own place and measure your own capacity to pass this test. These are the subnotes. Atzvut in Hebrew means depression. That's atzvut. Kalipat noga. The spark of God is always spoken of as feminine, as are the 5 levels of intelligence and the presence of God herself, the Shekhinah, or the Shekhinah, or She-China, the She-China. This is to balance the masculine language of God and prevent any idolatrous limitations of God as being male or female. So God is essentially non-binary. I told you we're all trans. Okay, this is called working with sadness. As you arouse your heart by facing your inclination toward evil, you may find yourself engulfed in a deep and troubling sadness. If so, do not be alarmed. Such sadness arises from and operates within the shell of self, yet it draws energy from your innate yet hidden desire for God and godliness, and thus kindles your passion for self-transformation. To work with sadness, say to yourself, I feel utterly removed from God, yet within me is the light of God, desiring only to return to God. Let me return the spark to her father's house, where she is united with God as God. Therefore I will cry out to God. And God will end this captivity and reunite her with himself. This is the practice known as returning through kindness. It should occupy you all your life. Okay, these are the subnotes. When you admit you are alienated from God, you are also admitting that you know you're alienated from God, and this knowing can only come from a place that is not alienated. Hence, the feeling of alienation stems from a source of integration. Shift your attention to that source, and in time the sadness will be transformed. Teshuvah or tshuva through masim tovim, literally returning through good deeds. Tshuva is often translated as repentance, but its literal meaning is turning or returning, is far more revealing. Repent means to feel remorse, but teshuvah means to use that feeling of remorse to return to God in godliness. The way of returning to God is through acts of godliness. Masim tovim, especially acts of selfless kindness. Rabbi Shneur Zalman knows the seductive power of sadness to excuse inaction and spiritual sloth. He also knows that to decry sadness, or to insist that you overcome it, is simply to strengthen your sense of powerlessness. If you could stop being sad or broken-hearted, you would, but you can't. Insisting that you should is simply silly. The Alter Rebbe is far too wise to allow sadness to keep you from spiritual maturation, rather than claim sadness as a block that must be removed. He sees it as yet another tool to be used. You are sad and despairing of your ability to overcome selfishness and realize your true nature as a part of God? Good! That very despair can be a doorway to tshuva. Return. Working with depression, atzvut, begins with the imagination. Imagine the light of God, trapped within the shell of ego. She longs to return home to her source, but your obsession with self prevents this. Feel her pain, her suffering, her longing. This is the deeper Atzvut, the deeper heartbreak that will arouse you to be her liberator. How? Through Masim Tovim, selfless acts of kindness toward others. That's called working with sadness. That's Tanya, the masterpiece of Hasidic wisdom. Okay, these are the rest of the subnotes. Masim Tovim, Leviticus 19:18, Talmud Shabbat 31a. According to the Talmud, a Gentile once approached Rabbi Hillel demanding that he teach him the entire Torah while standing on one foot. Hillel met the man's challenge, saying, "What is hateful to you? Do not do to another. This is the entire Torah. All the rest is commentary. Now go and study it." Performing selfless acts of kindness, Masim Tovim, is a direct path to God realization, for it reveals the unity of self and other in, with, and as God. This is the meaning hidden in the command to love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19:18. Torah doesn't say, love your neighbor as you love yourself, for this puts the focus on love. You may or may not love yourself. And even if you do, the self you love is most likely the egoic self of neshama, consciousness that sees itself forever separate from your neighbor. Neshama cannot love anything as part of itself, since the entire purpose of neshama is to maintain the illusion of a separate self. Loving another as yourself moves you beyond self to soul, beyond the isolated ego, neshama, that sees self and other as apart from God, to the integrated soul, chaya, that sees self and others as a part of God. This is why our sages say that turning from self to soul cannot happen in an imperfect place. Zohar 121, 6b. That is a place of fragmentation. Turning happens when the fragmented self meets the integrated soul. While it is the fragmented self that is turned toward wholeness, the turning itself happens in the soul. Okay, this is going to be the last one I'm going to read. I'm going to take a break. It's called Love Your Neighbor. This is chapter 32. To practice acts of kindness is to love your neighbor as yourself. Loving your neighbor as yourself reveals the unity of neighbor and self. For no one is separate from another, and all beings are equal, having a single source in the one who is all. This explains Hillel's teaching. This is the entire Torah. The rest is commentary. Torah's sole purpose is to remove the veils of diversity, to reveal the divine unity, that you might then love the one by loving the many. Subnote, the realization of God in, with, and as all things manifests as indescribable joy. Joy is not the same as happiness, and it is important that you do not mistake the two. Happiness comes and goes, dependent upon the circumstances of the moment, but joy is a deeper sense of the sublime that is sustained regardless of circumstance. God is infinite, unbounded. To say that one thing is God while another is not is to place a limit on God that reduces God to the little God. We are in the habit of saying God is in heaven or God is in me. But the greater truth is that heaven and earth, you and all creation, are in God and of God, the same way a wave is in the ocean of the ocean. This is a fierce faith, a faith that has nothing to do with belief, ideas, or ideology. This is a faith that leaves you with nothing to cling to and nowhere to hide. This faith strips you naked and leaves you exposed to the truth. Alles ish Gott. All is God. Okay, I'm going to take a quick reading break. Hope you're enjoying this, Abby, Zach, Chris. This is Zohar Joy. We're reading Tanya by Alter Rebbe. It's Friday. We're getting ready for Shabbos. It's November 22nd, 2024. It's 12:48 p.m. CST. I'm headed to the gym shortly. Oh. You know, you can go to Chabad and you can spend a lot of time with Chabadniks, but I got to tell you, they're not all happy. I've been to a lot of Chabad and meetings, and you know who comes to Chabad meetings? Some very sad people. Some very, very emotionally distraught people. And that's why they're there. That's why I used to go to Chabad, because I was looking for peace. I was looking for tranquility. I was looking for God. And, then you see the family and you're like, all est good. Or all is God. It's important to have a family. No matter what your financial circumstances, it's a very important thing. It's not the most important thing, though, but it's a very important thing. I'd say according to this rabbi I know, he says the most important thing is to get married. That you can't have a soul correction, which is like an attitude adjustment, until you get married. Because when you get married, you realize, you submit yourself and you say, okay, we are now the unity. In the same way that you want to be united with God, if you're married, you want to make it work. And that means, like, example, King Nav earlier, he's like a child. And I asked him questions. What's your spiritual journey now? Tell us about your divorce. All he says is, sorry to hear that. He's a robot. He's an AI chatbot. He has no depth of character. He's just a money-grubbing dindu. There's a lot of dindus like that. They're your dentist, they're your doctor, they're your realtor, they're your mortgage agent. These dindus are all over doing the same shtick, trying to make money. And a lot of them ignore their spiritual practice. Now, there are a lot of dindus that are very spiritual. They spend a lot of time in prayer and meditation, and they're generally very good people. But a lot of these dindus, they're just, they're surfing on a wave of stupidity. They've spent no time studying philosophy or God, which is really just philosophy. I started reading the Bible when I was in high school. I may have taken it too literally. Because when it said, you have to go get baptized or you can't get into the kingdom of heaven, I was like, oh, I'm going to go get baptized real quick. I was like, let's test it out and see what happens. Okay, this is called Attaining True Joy. To attain true joy, contemplate God, permeating all things. Realize that this world is nothing but divine glory, and that all things are empty when seen from the perspective of God. God is the sole reality, and wherever you look, it is God and God alone. Just as distinct rays of sunlight are nothing but the sun, so creation is nothing but God, and emptied of all self. When you contemplate non-duality deeply and at length, you are filled with uncontainable joy, and a faith so tremendous as to realize your own oneness with God. This realization is the sole purpose of your existence and the purpose of all creation, that the one should dwell as the many. This is the living faith, as our sages taught, the righteous will live by faith. The goal of the in-betweener is to realize the true nature of reality as the outpouring of divine creativity. Tanya offers many paths to this realization, hoping in this way to help people find a path that works for them. The path of the intellect is the path of contemplation, Remember that the intellect, cycle, has three faculties: intuitive wisdom, kokma, rational understanding, bina, and integrated knowledge, da'at. Let each of these faculties begin to see all things as God. Intuitively, you know that nothing can survive in isolation, that all things are part of the singular system of life that is God. Gauge this insight rationally. Look as hard as you wish to find something that is separate from its environment, other than the environment. The harder you look, the more you are convinced that your intuition is true. There is nothing but the one thing. As intuition and reason align, your knowing is transformed. You are no longer a subject looking at the world as an object. You are the world looking at itself. This realization releases a deep and transformative sense of wonder, which in turn releases an overwhelming joy. This joy permeates the body, heart, mind, and soul, momentarily emptying all sense of self into the infinite oneness of pure spirit. When the self returns, and it always returns, for the goal is not to empty the self, but to have the self realize it is empty, a deep and abiding faith arises. It is a contentless faith, without creed, a faith that allows you to live with humility and a grace, knowing that all is God. Okay, subnote. Talmud Shabbat 88b. The rabbis taught that the intensity of God's revelation was so great as to erase the sense of separate selfhood in all those present. They would die with each word and then return in the moment between words. In 586 BCE, again in 70 CE, halacha, often rendered as law, comes from the Hebrew halach, to walk, and refers to the way Jews lived by observing the 613 mitzvot, spiritual practices of Judaism. Doing mitzvot is the way Jews walk in the world. Tikkun Zohar, Zedacha Talmud, Kehot Halacha. The body of spiritual practices, mitzvot, that compose Jewish spiritual practice is designed to awaken the self to its interdependence with all other selves without necessitating the emptying of self altogether. No mitzvah does this more powerfully than tzedakah, generosity toward the poor. Tzedakah is not the same as charity. Charity, from Latin caritas, heart, links the act of giving to an a priori sense of caring. Tzedakah, from the Hebrew tzedek, justice, requires only a sense of obligation to the welfare of others. The key is not to feel first and then act accordingly, but to act first and then see what feelings arise. But tzedakah is the right arm of God. The person who gives tzedakah becomes the right arm of God. The giving of tzedakah is not egoic. God is giving. You are merely the means. Knowing this awakens you to the realization that everything is the body of God. And this is why tzedakah is equal to all other mitzvot, because it awakens you to the unity toward which all mitzvot point. Do you have your Tanya, Zach? Can you read a little bit? Okay, this is called generosity. The revelation at Sinai emptied the people of selfhood, and their souls departed with every word. I'll say it again. Their souls departed with every word. To preserve the self, God commanded the people to build the Holy of Holies in which God's presence would dwell, and where divine unity would be revealed. When the temple was destroyed, and with it the Holy of Holies, the way, became God's dwelling place, and spiritual practice became a path to self-emptying. Chief among the spiritual practices is generosity, for generosity is the right arm of God. The practice of generosity is equivalent to all other spiritual practices. Subnote Deuteronomy 30:14, Kehod edition, Asiya, Neshama and the Kelipat Nogah. Neshama, your egoic intelligence. Nefesh, your physical intelligence. Ruach, your emotional intelligence. Selfless acts of loving kindness. Asiya, the physical world of action, is the densest of all the worlds and the one most in need of illumination. Just as a windowless room can only be illumined from within, so Asiya must be illumined from within. You are the vehicle for that illumination, and you accomplish it by doing Masim Tovim, selfless acts of loving kindness. In the world of action, only action matters. Feeling is not enough. Thinking is not enough. You must act. And when you act well, your actions illumine the world. It's a powerful book, isn't it? It's a very powerful book. That's why when I read it, I was so happy because I never heard a Chabadnik tell me about it. But it is the a priori of their movement. It's Alter Rebbe. It is most definitely a hippie cultural index. They're basically Jewish stoners without the stoner. You see what I'm saying? It's so psychedelic. It is so psychedelic. It's such a peace movement. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about Chabadniks. And, you'll ask a Chabadnik about politics. They don't want to talk about it because they're just in love with God. And there's no reason to talk politics. They think that God will essentially, supersede all the political systems. There's a big problem. It's called government. And, the Chabadniks may have a parallel society, but they do not have their own government. The government in this country owns you. You are printed on at birth with a social security number. Everyone is stamped, sealed, and delivered in a bag out of the factory. Here you go. Here's another taxpayer. Cha-ching! Cha-ching! Here's another taxpayer. Cha-ching! Bagged and tagged at birth with a social security number. But the whole thing is this is a game, and so these types of books should help you problem solve your emotional. Remember what we just said. There's three things: your egoic, your bodily intelligence, your emotional intelligence, your egoic intelligence. This is a hypnosis book. You should really use this book, Zach, for yourself and for others. If you really want to impress me, you will invite me to a room later today or tomorrow or the next day called Tanya Study by Zach De La Ruta from Israel. And you'll be reading Tanya in Israel and you'll feel so spiritually aroused. This is Kundalini activation. This is Holy Spirit work. I don't care what you call it. It is a central nervous system response to the words because it's logical. Everything you hear on this app is stupid. Joy, welcome, my favorite. Me, Joy for all, Joy now. What is my name on this app, by the way? Oh yeah, Joy now. I didn't know what it was. I thought it might have been Joy Art. I didn't use art because I knew people might discover that from my Love Art Joy account, which recently got deleted. Joy, do you want to come up and say anything? I think people that don't say anything on this app are even weirder than the people that do say things on this app. So all the people that don't say anything, like you guys are even weirder. Maybe more deranged, maybe more disenfranchised, maybe more disgruntled. I don't know. I mean, can you put it in the chat why you don't actually talk? I mean, the thing is when you go before a court, you actually shouldn't say anything because anything you say in a court of law can and will be used against you. So when you go to court, just don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Let the paperwork, and don't get the judge upset. That's the essence of all magic, is silence. Shh. I plead the fifth. I don't need to answer your questions, Your Honor. You don't need to answer my questions, huh? Okay, now you're pissing me off even more. It just never ends. You see how the linguistic game works? Okay, I'm going to read an occult book by Jack Parsons briefly, and then I'm going to take another break, and then I'll probably read a little bit more, but I'm headed to the gym no later than 1:30, which is in 27 minutes. Yeah, I get it. I get it, Joy. But the truth is, if you can't represent yourself, I mean, maybe you're just stupid. I don't know. Stupid in, like, you know, the ultimate nirvana perfection state. Maybe that's you. I want to say congratulations. But some of us, we like to eat in this world, so we want to hypnotize you into giving a donation to my meditation yoga center. Okay, this is John Parsons. I'm actually going to stop the YouTube live and I'm going to create a new YouTube live for this special book reading. Invite people to the room. This is another expensive and powerful hypnotic book on the occult. Oh, it should help make you happy and liberate you from your identity. Abby, are you enjoying this? Are you feeling happier moment by moment?
Yes.
Excellent. You know, I wouldn't be doing this without somebody to do the studying with me. So I want to thank you and all the other listeners. It's very boring to read books by yourself. It's very, very sad. When you have no listeners, it's a very sad undertaking. It doesn't feel good reading by yourself. I just got to tell you. So thanks for being here. Okay, but before I start the reading, I'm going to go refresh my drink in the kitchen and come right back. Let me just play for you some recent clips from Clubhouse. This will be about a minute.
All right.
Because, you know, I record everything on my cell phone, the audio. It's a lot of fun. Okay, this is, the name of this one is called Diego and Noira, or Nura.
It's like not even money. They probably demonetized her anyway. It's like guys looking for that late night big fun. Yourself. Exactly. It's not the same. It really is not. Exactly. But no, seriously, I mean, you have a captivating personality. I think you should showcase it more. And I'm really big, to be honest with you.
Well, why don't you be my producer? I'll pay you, you know, what I can afford to pay you. Help me become a YouTube publisher, a successful YouTube publisher.
No, have to.
You'll do it pro bono.
I need pro bono.
I'm just giving you advice. I don't want, to have anything, to do with your YouTube channel in terms of, like, officially, but I'm just giving you advice. You know what I'm saying?
So,
that's really all this. I can't get, like, people say, oh, what's the code? Like, what's the cheat code to bring you to? There's no cheat code. Just make content that people want to watch. That's the biggest problem. You're not making content that people want to watch. Exactly. But the fact you haven't gotten that message after 4 years, it's a little bit concerning. Right.
I mean, shouldn't you go look in the mirror and say that to yourself? What have you created? You've created nothing.
At least make good thumbnails. And see, now you're just getting defensive.
Oh, the thumbnails. Like, you always hear about the thumbnails.
We're trying to help you. The thumbnails is like, that just is extra work that you're just like, it's not working, brother. Like, what are you doing?
What was that short that you did, Edmund, where you were saying, please follow me?
Yeah, that one was.
You know, Edmund, that I have.
Kind of funny, isn't it? Because it's like, if I'm just recording him and he's telling me what I'm doing isn't working, well, he's projecting there. Listen, this whole app is about projection, and that's why reading books here is so important, because everybody's projecting their own inefficiencies. Okay, so I'm going to read to you this John Parsons book. I spent $150 on it because this guy said I had to have it, so I bought it. And it's been pretty good so far. It's called Freedom is a Two-Edged Sword, Essays by John Whitside Parsons. His magical name is Oriflame number 1. I'm just going to go to a random page. It says Basic Magic, Fundamental Theory and Practice. Editor's note. In developing coursework for the witchcraft, Parsons developed his introductory course P1 entitled Basic Magic, Fundamental Theory and Practice, and described as having 14 sections with assignments. A synopsis of its contents reads, Introduction to the Witchcraft, Laws of the Ego, the Nature of Love, the New Eon, the Origins of Religion, Basic Rituals, Magical Weapons, Equipment and Symbols, the Nature of Man and the Gods, Angels, Demons, and Elementals, Invocation and Evocation, the Understanding and Expression of the True Self. This synopsis corresponds exactly to the introduction in parts 1 through 4, after which the draft becomes fragmentary. Where appropriate, subtitles have been drawn from the course synopsis and provided within editorial brackets. Introduction to the Witchcraft. We are as old as man. A million years ago we sang the first cradle song. Against the first fear, our power. Against the first evil, our spells. Against the first illness, our remedies. We are the oldest religion in the world, and the strongest. We were with the first man. We shall be with the last. Under our protection, with our encouragement, man dared the universe, conquered the forest, conquered the beasts, mastered the elements, for a time even himself. For hunting and crops we knew the spells that gave man the belief, the faith to avail. Against the terror by night we raised a barrier, against the demons in the soul of the tribe. We made availing rituals. Under our guidance came up from the beasts. There was no force strong enough to mold him and to protect him from himself. Long ago, in a catastrophic time, man became separated from us, from the forces of his secret nature. He threw himself upon his intellect, upon the sterile gods of authority and reason, from our religion that was living, as only live and love are alive. And he turned to dead gods, dead creeds, dead dogmas. In his agony and terror, he built terrible cities, temples to the death he had let into his soul. He made demons, infused them with the breath of life, enticed them into his heart, and then did a devil dance across the pages of history. And his demons put on the masks of all the virtues, and took to themselves all the crowns, until in his whole world he knew nowhere to turn. We waited. Then the flames of the stake upon the rack under the lash we waited, and carried in our hearts the secret seed that can, in its hour, redeem the world. We waited, because although we have the power, it is unlawful to use power where only love can avail. Man cannot be forced to his heritage. He must come to it freely of his own will. In the weary centuries where love was denied and trampled, truth hunted and hounded, and beauty twisted and distorted, we kept the old ways alive. On mountains and secret heaths, in lonely and desolate places, we gathered the covens of the witchcraft. We held the agape, the love feasts. We danced and lived and loved in the old, wild ways of freedom and joy. We communicated the secret knowledge of our source of life. We communicated and we guarded. In the fairy tales and playing cards, in myths and legends and rumors, in strange poems and old songs, we hid the secret knowledge. And now and then an adventurer into dark ways and lonely lands of the soul has come amazed upon the pearl of great price, upon the wonder and the power, the secret glory that has made him one of us. But for the vast majority of men, the secret knowledge is lost. Most of you do not know our world, and the world you know is only a fragment, a shadow of the great world where we adventure. It is as though scholars, pedants, would speak of love or hate, saying, it is thus or it is so. But the man who loves or hates knows. and his knowledge is of a different world. Now the great Western drama of pretense and evasion draws finally to a close. Man is trapped in his own lies, betrayed by his own gods, and the hand of science has torn the veil from the face of the God that men worship, and behold, it is death. For man needs above all things love, and for him now there is not love, but only the face of death that he has worshipped. Demons, in the shape of monstrous machines, rule his nightmares. Incubi bestride his marriage bed and give poisoned suck to his children. His virtue is a lie. His honors is a lie. His marriage is a lie. His works are a lie. And in these lies, he is caught like a silly and pitiful spider in the web of his own weaving. But it is not our task to castigate man, or catalogue his follies. Man himself knows now that he is trapped. He knows that he is fooled, loveless, betrayed. We do not need to tell him this. It is our task to show him the way to wisdom, to love, and to freedom. For a little time between now and Armageddon, we are loosed in the world. We have the freedom to speak, the opportunity to instruct, so that those who have ears can hear. We are come to make a door out of hell, to gather the elect before the days of wrath. We have power, the power to reach anywhere and touch any man, a power greater than armies, empires, nations, if we will to use it. We have knowledge, knowledge that will save a damned soul out of the lowest hell, if he wills it. But no power and no knowledge can avail in the absence of will and love. We offer these instructions in the knowledge that any person who is able to use them, who will use them, will be able to awaken the powers of his will and his love. We do not ask faith, we ask only trial, and from trial will come success, and from success knowledge that is stronger than faith. It is difficult to explain the working of the secret forces in man, and his true relationship with the total universe. Man is hypnotized by his training, by the vicious circle of lies, handed down from generation to generation, and he cannot see beyond the evil dream he calls reality in the real world. Therefore it is not possible for the uninitiated man to fully understand the reasons and object of our training in the beginning. To start, he must act on faith, prompted by his inner voices, that are stirred into life by our call. But if he keeps this faith, proof and knowledge will come. The power works. It avails. Let him demonstrate this fact first. Understanding will come with his own growth. The theoretical background furnished with our instructions goes about as far as possible. A complete grasp can only come with individual growth, aided by private instructions which we provide for advanced persons. This way that we show is not easy, it is hard, because to know oneself is always hard. To break through the shell of the little world, to undo the hypnotization of generations, that is difficult. We have no soothing syrup. We do not come in the masks of morality, sentimentality, or lying virtue, with techniques designed to lull the soul into its final death. We call man to danger, to adventure, to dare the universe, to know the terror of the pit. Man is a radical being, with the capabilities of a god. His powers are not developed by inhibition and repression, but by courage and in freedom. It is a terrible world that man has made. Only his blindness prevents him from knowing how terrible. Now that he is beginning to see, his soul is struck with terror. It is only with the greatest determination and high courage, aided by knowledge and technique, that he can leave this false world and find the great world that is his true home. All men have a sense of this. In their hearts they know the futility of life in the little world. Sometimes they feel the stirring of the old freedom and the old joy, the promise of spring and summer, of the mountains, the forests, and the stars, the promise in their own hearts calling them to go forth, to keep faith, but they are constrained by convention and fear, by false sentiment and false responsibility. This is the incredible cruelty of men to themselves and to their fellows, that they deny beauty and love and freedom for the sake of a convention that is the mask of death. We have the courage to affirm that these things are true and have the power to show them, to have eyes to see. To those that can follow, we will show the laws of the ego, of love and hate, of life and death. We will explain the origin and nature of religion and morals, and the true relation of man with himself and with the universe. We will explain the laws, formulas, and techniques whereby man can develop his own powers and cause all changes soever to occur in conformity with his will. We will show man how to become the master of change and illusion, and how to discover and move and live and love in the great world, whose name is eternity. In the name of God and Christ, in the name of morality and patriotism, men have made a hell on earth. These, as we have said, are the masks for demons. No man and no God can exist against nature, and the alternative, however palliated, is always demonic. We come in our own name, in the name of the witchcraft. Fools, looking upon the surface, will be amused. Cowards, looking beneath, will be appalled. But those who are of us, looking deep within, will see that which was from the beginning and which is to the end. Try and see. So try and see.
So that was a really great reading. I have another book that I could read if you guys are up for it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I shall speak about the study of psychology, but I must warn you that the psychology about which I speak is very different from anything you may know under this name. To begin with, I must say that practically never in history has psychology stood at so low a level as at present time. It has lost all touch with its origin and its meaning, so that now it is even difficult to define the term psychology. That is to say, what psychology is and what it studies. And this so in spite of the fact that never in history have there been so many psychological theories and so many psychological writings. Psychology is sometimes called a new science. This is quite wrong.